Hello everybody, I'm SJM. Welcome back to Star Technology. We've got a couple of rabbit holes to dive into today, but nothing our tiny little bird brains can't handle. But first we'll talk about crushed blackstone. So blackstone can be made in an igneous extruder. We just need blue ice instead of water on one side to make the blackstone. To get the blue ice, there's a couple of methods that you could do it with. Obviously, blue ice is 9 packed ice. Packed ice is fairly simple in that once we have ice, we can just run it through the bulk washer to turn it into pack ice directly. We don't need 9 ice for every packed ice that we want to make, so that's going to save us a factor of 9 there. But the road to ice is where we have 2 ways to get there. So we can press 9 snow blocks to get 1 ice, or if earlier on you had made the what am I looking for here? If you had made the cutter earlier on in the chapter, like the LV cutter, you can chop the snow into the snow blocks into the flat pieces of snow and then use it in a compressor to get a piece of ice. So if we had a cutter and you would need to have, oh no, you don't have to have lubricant. You can do it with any of the water, distilled water, or lubricant. And that would be an easy just to turn 1 snow block into 12 flat snow, which then you could turn into ice, blow air over it to make it packed ice, and then combine your packed ice into blue ice. And then we just run it through the macerator, and that gives us the crushed blackstone, which we sift for various things, stuff and things. Alright, today we wanted to get to, let's look at the quest book, I guess. We wanted to get to these chips here. So the things that we're going to need, let's start over here with the monocrystalline Silicon Boule. We talked about it in the last episode. This is not too hard. We're taking silicon dust, which we got from electrolyzing the clay, getting our aluminum with the MV setup, and then some more of these small piles of gallium arsenide, which we did a couple of episodes ago. EBF, circuit 2, 5 minutes, you get a monocrystalline Silicon Boule. Not too hard. I got a couple of those already stacked up. And then the real rabbit hole was getting the vanadium steel ingots so that we can get the advanced cutter, because we do need the MV cutter in order to cut our boules into the silicon wafers. So vanadium steel ingots are done in the EBF, and the vanadium steel dust has to be done in an MV mixer. 7 steel, a vanadium dust, and a chromium dust. So the rabbit holes come here with the vanadium dust and the chromium dust. So vanadium dust comes from a centrifuge from vanadium magnetite. You can get vanadium magnetite a couple of different ways, processing either in a centrifuge or a ore washer, some forms of the vanadium magnetite dust, which comes from the crushed vanadium magnetite, which we get from sifting gravel in the iron mesh. And just note that if you want to put the vanadium magnetite in the ore processing plant, this does say it wants MV over here. So you would have to, I would have to go and re-overclock my LV one, so I'd have to put in the second energy hatch here and draw the big power over there, but I know that I can't do that with the, because I was running my EBF at the same time. I don't have the power infrastructure to do that. So I did the other way through ore washing and not macerating, but forge hammer and all that stuff to get my vanadium magnetite processed. Chromium is the other part of this equation. Chromium dust, a little bit of a rabbit hole here, and it does require some more MV machines. So we need to electrolyze chromite dust. We get the chromite dust from centrifuging some of these impure piles of chromite, or there's the ore washing recipe as well here to get this stuff. And then this, of course, comes from the crushed chromite ore, which is sifting black stone through an iron mesh, getting beryllium chromite or cobaltite. So this is where we start getting the chromite, and then we've got to process this as well. I had to obviously use the ore washing / centrifuging method because, again, this would require an MV setup on the ore processor if we wanted to get it that way. Although, you know, this, yeah, you don't get it directly, but, well, you do get it directly rather than through a couple of different processes over here. So that's, if you have the power infrastructure, that's probably the better way to go. Once we've got all of those, obviously we just throw that into an MV mixer. So I got an MV mixer over here that I made. I also made a second electrolyzer, just totally stupidly by accident, so don't do what I do, but at least I've got two electrolyzers now, so if I want to process things faster, I have that opportunity. So up here we do have our Boules and our vanadium steel put together there, so we'll complete off those two quests. We do have to change our steel ingots into some plates because this buzzsaw blade is 4 plates plus some of the tools. And which tools are we looking at? So we need saw, hammer, file, wire cutters. Saw, hammer, wire cutters, file. That gives us our buzzsaw, and then the cutter. Just a bunch of MV tier stuff, machine hulls, conveyors, electric motors. That's all just your basic crafting stuff, which you should have done already before, but just if you haven't, the only tricky thing to notice are the motors require croup row nickel wire. So you just have to make up a bunch of that stuff and start having that on hand so that you can process, so that you can make your motors for the mini crafting in there. All right. We have our first cutter. We're going to need some water or lubricant. I haven't gone down the lubricant loop or rabbit hole just yet. There it is, a little bit of one for sure. So lubricant, you know, creosote and talc, which is a thing into itself, I guess. Yeah, I don't even know where you would get talc because it's not a sifting recipe there. The other ways, I guess the easiest one that I found was a distillation tower. So seed oil, which we have downstairs from the biodiesel setup, just distills straight into that. But this is a 3x3x3 multi-block, so I didn't bother going down. Oh, this needs stainless steel anyways, which we need the reason why we need these chips is so that we can build MV tier multi-blocks to get stainless steel. I'm pretty sure that's the way this works. At any rate, we can put our boules in here, let them process, and that will chop them down into some silicon wafers for us. These do have a few uses. So we can make some cheaper diodes. We're going to start needing these in bulk coming up soon, because there are the cheaper LV and MV circuits, which both require those in more quantity, right? So, and then of course over here the laser engraver is where we're going to get some of these wafers that we need for the next steps. Now that we have these wafers, we can get our engraver. And in the engraver, I guess it's probably easier to find these things through here. So to get the ULPICs, wafers and chips, we need blue lenses. Blue lenses are done by lathing sapphire plates. Sapphire plates are made by cutting sapphire blocks, and sapphire blocks we have to get from 9 pieces of sapphire, which come from this sapphire, which is from the sifter, I want to say. But yeah, we have to get the purified sapphire ore, sift a bunch of it, and then hope we get this output there. And similarly, the IC chips come from the red lens, which we can lathe exquisite rubies to get those, or ruby plates. So is there not one for the... Ah, geez, why am I not bookmarking these? Oh, there is an exquisite sapphire one there. Okay, that's good. Did I do both? No. I don't think I've done either. Oh, I did emerald. That's what I'm thinking of. Alright, I'm going to process some of my sapphire and my ruby and come back when we've got those lenses ready to do the engraving on the wafers. Alright, so I got super lucky with the lapis for the sapphire, and a little bit more normal luck with the ruby here. But basically, we take our crushed and we put it into the ore washer, and that gives us the purified. And then if we take the purified and we put it into the sifter, everything here is a percent chance. So only a 5% chance to get this exquisite sapphire, but we can take this exquisite and put it into an LV lathe to get the sapphire lens directly. We don't need to get the 9 sapphires to make the block, then to put that into the cutter. So my lathe is here. That guy in there should work fine. And then we do have to process down these 2 flawless rubies. Oh, that won't go into that forge hammer, but it will go into the cutter. That gets us 9. Those. We can then get the blocker ruby. Oh, that's gonna take a while. 120 seconds. Okay, well, I guess we're another minute and a half. We take our ruby over here and we cut this. And why is that there? I wanted the... So this does take... Oh, okay. We need another MV machine, so we need an MV lathe to turn our ruby plate into the lens. So should be good to make this fairly quickly. Wire cutter. Let it open. Here's our advanced lathe. Sapphire lens is done now. This one going to be 60 seconds. I guess that's fine, but we just can go over to our engraver here, put our laser lens there. One of those, and that's a 45 seconds. Alright, we'll be back in a 40 seconds or so. I guess one thing I never covered in this series so far, but if you don't like the sound that these machines are making, just slap it with a hammer. You can mute all those fairly easily that way. I guess we get aluminum dust from processing the sapphire in the ore washer. And then I didn't even see that there's the recipe, the chromium dust we got from washing the ruby ore. So that would have been an easier way to get that than the method that I took. But 6 of one, half dozen of the other, I guess. So we got the ULPIC wafer now. So we can do a similar thing with the ruby one over here. Let's put one of those guys in there. It will process into the IC wafer, ILC wafer. And then we take those wafers and we put them into the cutter again. And we'll get the chips that way. So then once we have these IC chips, that's what leads us down to these quote-unquote cheaper LV circuits. The problem here, as I said before, was the diodes. There, so we're gonna have to be making more of those. Just takes the copper wire. I do want to find, I can't find annealed copper. I was looking through here for it before and I couldn't find it anywhere. Like, it's not an alloy smelter. Oh, it's an arc furnace. Ah, I didn't flip through this. I got intimidated by 137 pages of recipes. But we just take regular copper and oxygen in an arc furnace to get annealed copper. So using the annealed versions will give us the opportunity to double up on those diodes. So that's what we'll be doing with those moving forward. Yeah, same with going to these integrated circuits here. This diode recipe. Annealed copper doubles up how many you get for each recipe. And I don't think at this stage I'm able to reach the polyethylene, so we're kind of stuck with the glass recipe. But at least with the annealed copper wire and the glass, we do get 2 diodes per recipe instead of 1. So that'll be a good help for getting these moving forward and having these, you know, quote unquote cheaper circuits. And I believe those can be used in all of the standard crafting recipes for the machines, right? Instead of these circuits, we can use these circuits. There we go. We did complete off all of those. So towards the next episode, we'll be looking at getting these hatches and then moving towards the stainless steel and Kanthal so that we can get the flux sieves and the AE2 circuits respectively. So I think that's it for today, and then I just have to I think I have to bump up my ore processor to the MV tier to be able to get some of these byproducts. Yeah, that's where we get this stuff here. I guess we could get it the long way, but I'd much rather just bite the bullet, and because now that I'm not using my EBF, when I'm not using my EBF, I can run my ore factory on MV, but when I'm running my EBF, I can't. So that's a thing. Maybe we'll have to hook up another one of these. Maybe I'll have to use a lapidary over here just to power this guy alone, because my my create power system isn't working right, or it isn't enough, right? With only 1,800. I thought I had 18,000 for some reason, but it's only 1.8k. Then just like before, we've got with the iron meshes, I built my setup down here with the item collector, 16 meshes. So that's my string, that's my iron, that's my thing. They all feed straight back into my colossal chest. And we just have the corresponding drawers on the top side, which I've gone ahead and labeled them now, so I don't think I'll forget because I built it, but if I'm ever questioning myself, yeah, this is the one for the flint mesh, this is the one for the string mesh, and this is the one for the iron mesh over here. I think that's just about enough for today's episode. I do have a thought in mind for automatically fueling the lapidary, but we need the flux sieves to get there. So we'll be doing that setup, if not the next episode, then fairly shortly thereafter. But the stainless steel has to be done in the EBF on an HV. So we actually have to upgrade our energy hatches to the MV energy hatches. So the 2 MV energy hatches will overclock and make HV, in which we can then process the stainless steel dust, which is basically, I think I've got everything in here now. To get the stainless steel, but yeah, we just have to swap out these, and yeah, now that I see that this is or that the step of progression is to upgrade these hatches over to MV, definitely going to make another lapidary and the associated upgrades and have that set up over here for the power instead of running it off of this LV crappy power. But at any rate, I guess we will sign off this episode with a sunrise. I appreciate you all for joining me on this, in my little adventure here. And yeah, working our way through the pack slowly but surely, trying to be a little bit more step by step and explaining things for you all, for those people that are like me and this is, you know, your first dip maybe into the, you know, MV slash, we're almost getting into HV in Greg Tech now, so I'm finding it fun. It's a good challenge. You know, played lots and lots of modded Minecraft, so Greg Tech I think was a good next step for me. And I hope you're enjoying it. Let me know down below. Anyways, I appreciate you all. As always, we'll see you in the next one. Bye!